Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic.
From the top of Hokage Mountain, three council elders watched worriedly as Hiruzen Sarutobi clashed blades with both the first and second Hokage, though nearby was the real foe. None other than Sarutobi's former student, Orochimaru, puppeted the two dead leaders. But off in the distance was an even greater concern. The giant toad boss, Gamabunta, readied himself for another onslaught from an equally massive sand demon. Though the very ground shook with their rage, a fearless orange blur could be made out through the dust and smoke. The loudmouthed blonde clung to Gamabunta, aiding in the fight. The elders were surprised that Naruto had not yet used any of the Nine Tails chakra, especially when he had tapped into it during his fight with Neji Hyuga. That didn't last long, however, as they say that they saw Gamabunta become enveloped in smoke. Seconds later, the elders saw none other than the nine-tailed fox itself emerge from the smoke and charge at the one-tails. Needless to say, the council elders were scared shitless and thought the nine tails had finally escaped its host. They had no clue what they should do since they were currently at war with the Hidden Sound Village and the Hidden Sand Village. They in no way in any shape or form would be able to fight the nine-tailed fox if it truly took over Naruto. They could hear some screams and gasps of fear from some of the leaf shinobi upon seeing the nine-tailed fox. I knew we should have killed the demon brat before it was too late. One shinobi said. Yeah, we should have let the civilians kill him instead of us protecting him every time they tried going after it. Another voice added. Then a bandana-clad shinobi carrying a senbon in his teeth spoke next, carefully choosing his words. In all honesty, are you surprised it happened? Everyone treats him like shit, even though Lord Fourth wanted him to be seen as a hero. Maybe if you all treated him better, none of this would have happened. The three elders weren't surprised at what some things they heard their shinobi say, but they were really surprised at what that bandana-wearing shinobi said. I believe that bandana-clad shinobi's name is Genma Shirunai. I believe he was part of the 4th Hokage's protection squad and was taught a rendition of the Flying Thunder God. Danzo said, you know, that Genma does bring up a good point. Maybe if we treated him a little better, this wouldn't be happening right now. Kaharu said to Danzo and Homura. I don't give a shit what he thinks. If the kid survives this, we'll banish him from the village. After that, Danzo can send one of his root shinobi to hunt Naruto down and kill him. Homura said. Kaharu wore a shocked expression, but Danzo seemed to enjoy the idea a little too much. I do agree with you, Homura, but if Sarutobi lives from this fight, we won't be able to banish Naruto. If he dies and we elect a 5th Hokage, then we'll take measures to ensure our decision cannot be interfered with. Danzo said. Later on, after the invasion was over, the elders and Jiraiya are in the Hokage office and Homura asks, Jiraiya, are you sure you don't want to step in as Hokage? No, even if I wanted to, I can't because I'm the spymaster and we have no one to take over those responsibilities, Jiraiya said. Do you think you'd be able to find Tsunade and bring her back? She can't be away from the leaf any longer and she needs to take up the mantle, Kaharu said. I'll be able to find her, but will she come back willingly? No. So I'll have to threaten her with the daimyo saying he'll make her a missing nin if she doesn't come back. Jiraiya said. Okay. When will you leave? Danzo said, finally speaking up. I'll leave with Naruto after the funeral to find her and bring her back, Jiraiya said. The elders started sweating a little bit since they planned to banish Naruto. Why do you want Naruto to go with you? Danzo asked. I'm his godfather, and besides that, he's going to be my student soon, Jiraiya said. Danzo and Homura started to sweat a little more, hoping Jiraiya doesn't come down on them for their decision. Kaharu wasn't in that bad of a spot since she was against banning Naruto. Okay. After the funeral, set out to get Tsunade and bring her back to the leaf to become the 5th Hokage, Danzo said. Jiraiya nodded and left the room. Are you too sure this is still the right decision to ban Naruto? Jiraiya is going to take him as a student. Koharu said. It has to be done. I doubt Tsunade will let me take him into root, and there's no way Jiraiya will. He can't control the demon and we can't afford to take the risk of it running rampant in the village as it did 13 years ago. We have to banish him, and then after a little while behind their back send an assassin after Naruto. Danzo said. Koharu didn't like this at all. She knew Jiraiya and even Tsunade would not be okay with this, but she stayed silent. Alright, we need to set up the funerals. Let's go out and help. Koharu said. Flash to the funeral. Naruto was with his team up front, listening to them talking about all the shinobi who died in the invasion. Naruto was doing fine until they got to the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. He was doing his best to hold it in. He didn't want to break in front of everyone. Jiraiya could see Naruto trying his best not to break and he decided to shunshin next to him. Jiraiya put his hand on Naruto's shoulder, and whispered into Naruto's ear, Naruto, I know it's tough right now not to break. We'll stay behind and let everyone leave. When they leave, let it all out, kid. Don't let it sit for too long, it won't be good for you. Naruto held it in, and after a while, everyone finally left. Naruto turned and jumped into Jiraiya's chest, breaking down. Gramps was one of the few who looked at me as a human, and not a demon. Why did he have to die? Pervy Sage, Naruto choked out. The Toad Sage didn't know what to do. He felt bad not being in his godson's life. He heard from the Toads that Naruto wasn't treated well, but he didn't know it was this bad. Naruto, we're leaving tomorrow to go find Tsunade Senju, the other member of Sannin. They're going to be making her the 5th Hokage, and we need to go find her and bring her back to the leaf. While we're searching for her, I'm going to teach you the 4th Hokage's jutsu, the Rasengan. Jiraiya said. All Naruto could do was nod. Couple weeks later, Jiraiya and Naruto were walking through a forest heading towards Tanzaku town. They tried going to some small villages who were known for gambling, but couldn't find Tsunade and really couldn't get any leads. Hey pervy sage, am I a real Uzumaki? Naruto said out of the blue. I would sure hope so, considering your mother was an Uzumaki. Jiraiya said, only to realize that he had slipped up a little bit. You knew who my mother was? Naruto asked as he was getting closer and closer to popping the ball for the second step to learning the Rasengan. Jiraiya sighed, yes, I knew your mother, and I also know who your father was. But Naruto, before you ask, I can't tell you who your parents are just yet. I will, however, tell you where your mother is from. Naruto pouted but listened to what Jiraiya was going to say next. Your mother is from Uzushiogakure, or also known as the Hidden Whirlpool Village. The Uzumaki clan were some of the most powerful shinobi in the world. They were masters of Fuinjutsu, which is a dying art, and they were very good at Kenjutsu as well. Your mother was a Fuinjutsu master and was also good at Kenjutsu. Sadly though, Uzushiogakure was wiped out by the Hidden Mist, Hidden Stone, and the Hidden Cloud. Jiraiya said. Meanwhile in the Hidden Leaf, the elders had called a clan council meeting to bring up the banishment of Naruto. You all are probably wondering why we have called this meeting. We want to talk to you about the banishment of a certain genin shinobi. Danzo said. What do you mean, Elder Danzo? Who are we banishing? Asuma Sarutobi asked. Taking a deep breath, Homaru said, Naruto Uzumaki. Can I ask why we are going to banish my student? Kakashi inquired. I'm surprised you're even here, Kakashi. Didn't think you wanted anything to do with clan politics. Danzo said. Well, let's just say I had a hunch that I should be here, and I'm glad I decided to come since you want to banish my student. Kakashi said with an eye smile. Well, we saw the 9-tailed fox fighting the 1-tailed beast, so we are assuming he escaped Naruto. But the only issue is that Naruto is clearly fine and in control of his body. Koharu said. Have you three ever thought that Naruto used a Henjar transformation jutsu on the Toad Summons boss when fighting the One Tail? I'm pretty sure I originally saw the Toad boss fighting the One Tail before I got into a fight again. Kakashi said, we did not. But even so, he would have had to use the demon's chakra to help him, and how do we know the demon won't escape? I think we need to banish him before it's too late, Homaru said. I think it's silly you guys are willing to bully a genin when all he has done is shown he's been in control. Asuma retorted. He also beat the Hyuga brat by only using the demon's chakra to reopen his chakra coils from the Hyuga technique. He was in control of that incident too. Sume Inuzuka said, getting a look from Hiyashi Hyuga. I think I have to agree with Elder Danzo, we should banish him before it's too late, Hiyashi said. Unfortunately, the elders bring up good points, he could truly lose control anytime. Inoichi agreed. If Inoichi agrees, then I'll agree too, Shuza said. This is too troublesome. If we banish him, then the other great nations will think we are weak, but if he truly does lose control, then the village will get destroyed. I agree to banish him. Shikaku said. I agree, Shibi said. Kakashi stood up and stormed to the door. I'll say this. You guys are making a big mistake. My sensei would be disappointed in all of you, and not only did you not follow my sensei's dying wish in seeing Naruto as a hero. You ostracized him, treated him like he was the Nine Tails and not as Naruto Uzumaki. Just remember this. Jiraiya will find a way to make your lives miserable. These fools don't realize they're banishing Minato sensei and Kushina Hime's son. Kakashi thought as he stormed out the door before the vote even happened. Sume and Asuma followed Kakashi and left. Are we in agreement to banish Naruto Uzumaki when he returns with Jiraiya and Tsunade? Danzo said. It took the clan heads a few minutes to digest what Kakashi Hatake said to them, but in the end, everyone agreed to banish Naruto. A week and a half later, Naruto, Jiraiya, and Tsunade with Shizune returned back to the Leaf with a large crowd waiting for them. The three of them walked to the Hokage Tower and headed to the top of the Hokage Tower with the elders waiting for them on the roof. While the ceremony for Lady Tsunade was going on, Naruto couldn't help but get a feeling something bad was going to happen to him today. After the ceremony, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Naruto, and the rest of Team 7 Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi were sent into the council meeting room. Can I ask what the meaning of this is about? It's my first day on the job and you're already doing a clan council meeting, and why are Jiraiya, Naruto, and his team in here? Tsunade demanded. Well, Lady Hokage, before you were here we decided to hold a council meeting and came to a decision that was voted on 8-3 about a banishment. Danzo said with an evil grin. And whose banishment would that be, Danzo? Tsunade asked. Naruto Uzumaki, please step forward, Koharu said. Naruto nervously took a step forward. From what we saw during the invasion, and from the Chunin exams, we have come to the conclusion that you are henceforth to be banished from the Hidden Leaf village for using the Nine Tails chakra, and letting him out to fight the One Tails. Homura said. Wait a minute, I never let the Nine Tails out. I've never let him take control or use my body. The Nine Tails you saw was me transforming Toad Boss Gamabunta into the Nine Tails. You can't banish me for saving this village who has treated me like shit when I did nothing wrong. Naruto yelled. What Naruto didn't see was that his eyes had turned red for a short second before going back to blue. Naruto, calm down. I veto this decision. You can't go through with that since you have a Hokage now, and I can veto any decision you have when it comes to banishment if I don't see a rightful cause to ban him. Not only that, if other villages found out we banished our Jinchuriki, they'll find us weak and could potentially start a war with us. Tsunade said. What the clan members didn't notice was a very angry Jiraiya who was trying to hold in his killing intent. Unfortunately for you, Tsunade, we got the approval from the daimyo himself, so you have no power here. Naruto Uzumaki, you have until tomorrow night to leave the Hidden Leaf village. We also forbid you, Jiraiya, from going after Naruto for 5 years. If you go against this, you will be arrested for treason. Danzo said. After that statement, everyone started sweating when they felt a massive amount of killing intent coming from Jiraiya. Naruto was on his knees, crying and not trying to pass out from Jiraiya's killing intent. Sasuke and Sakura already fainted. Let me say this very clearly to you all, stay away from me if you know what's good for you. To the 3 clan heads that voted no, you have the right to speak to me. But everyone else, don't even bother. That goes for you as well, elders. Now if you don't mind, I'm going to spend that last remaining time I have with my godson. Jiraiya said, picking Naruto up and leaving via Shunshin. Well, that went well, Kaharu said. Someone take the Uchiha and the Haruno girl outside and wake them up, please. I'll do it, I am their sensei after all, Kakashi said, grabbing both of them and Shunshin out of the building. Kakashi appeared with them at the Team 7 training ground and woke them both up. Kakashi-sensei, why are we at the training grounds? Where is Naruto? Sakura asked. Sakura, Sasuke, what do you both remember before you passed out? Kakashi asked. I think I heard the council banish the Dobi. Sasuke said, with a startled look from Sakura. Kakashi-sensei, why would they banish Naruto? Sakura asked. Sasuke, Sakura, what do you know about the nine-tailed fox? Kakashi asked. Well, I know the 4th Hokage killed it 12 years ago. Why do you ask, sensei? Sakura said. Well, you can never officially kill a tail beast. They come back to life after a handful of years. The 4th Hokage never killed the nine-tailed fox, he sealed it into a newborn baby. That newborn baby was Naruto. Naruto is that nine-tails Jinchuriki. Kakashi said, getting shocked looks from Sasuke and Sakura. So that's why the villagers look at Naruto with hatred. Sakura said, I can't believe the Dobi never lashed out at them. If it was me, I would have potentially attacked them. Kakashi-sensei, I need to train and get stronger so I can potentially do something in the future to bring Naruto back. Sasuke said, I won't let Orochimaru get in my way of saving my Dobi of a friend. I won't abandon this village now that my so-called brother is gone. Same with me too, sensei. It's time for me to take my training more seriously. Sakura said, well, Naruto has to leave the village tomorrow night, so I do suggest we spend whatever time we have left with him. I just hope the boy can survive. Jiraiya can't do anything to help him for 5 years. Kakashi said. They both looked at their sensei in shock. Neither one of them knew what to say from the information that was just told to them. Let's go, you two. If I know anything, Jiraiya probably took Naruto to Ichiraku's. Kakashi said as he started walking away. Sakura and Sasuke followed Kakashi as they decided to head off to Naruto's favorite place. Meanwhile, with Jiraiya and Naruto. Jiraiya just shunshined Naruto out of the council meeting chambers and brought him to Ichiraku. Naruto, the only thing I can really say is that I'm truly sorry the council did this to you. They're forbidding me from seeing you once you leave, so please do everything in your power to survive until I can find you. Train as hard as you can, and in this scroll is some jutsus of mine. They're basic elemental jutsu anyone can learn. But before you leave tomorrow, I want to take some time tonight to find out what element affinity you possess, and I'll make sure to give you some jutsu scrolls from that element to help you survive. Jiraiya said, only to receive a nod from Naruto as he walked through the flap to the bar seats. Hey, Naruto, do you want the usual? Hi, Master Jiraiya, Ayame said. Naruto just grunted and shook his head yes. What's wrong, Naruto? Ayame, old man, tomorrow is my last day in the leaf. The council banished me, Naruto said. Both Ayame and Tyuki looked at Naruto in shock, and then eventually they both got angry. How dare those old bastards do this to you, Naruto? The 4th Hokage would be disgusted if he knew what they did. You were supposed to be looked at as a hero to the leaf, damn them. Tyuki yelled, startling Jiraiya and Naruto. Dad, calm down. We, unfortunately, can't do anything about it. Master Jiraiya, can you stop by later or tomorrow morning with storage scrolls so we can make sure Naruto is stocked up well enough on ramen for at least a little while? Ayame asked, receiving a nod from Jiraiya. A few minutes later, three people walked through the flaps of the ramen bar. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke said. Naruto turned around and gave them a sad smile. Hey guys, hi sensei. Hey Naruto, how are you holding up? Kakashi asked. Not well, sensei. But I'll make it work somehow until Jiraiya can find me in 5 years. Naruto said, receiving a frown by everyone. Naruto, although you're Adobe, I'm going to train my off so I can eventually do something to get you back to this village. Sasuke said, yeah, Naruto. Sasuke and I are going to train our off so please stay alive for us. We'll get you back somehow, that's a promise of a lifetime. Sakura said, thanks guys, but I'll be fine. Don't overdo it for me. I'll find a way, and I'll survive until Pervy Sage can find me, I promise. Naruto said, you're welcome Naruto. Sakura said, giving Naruto a smile. Naruto looked away to hide the small blush that appeared. Naruto, I'll make sure I'll have these two with me before you head out tomorrow night. Alright, you two let's leave Master Jiraiya and Naruto alone. Kakashi said, leaving Ichiraku. CYA tomorrow Dobi, Sasuke said. See you tomorrow Naruto. Sakura said, bye guys. Naruto said, Naruto, I'll meet you at your apartment in an hour to test your elemental affinity, Jiraiya said. Okay. Pervy Sage, Naruto said. Jiraiya got up and paid for their ramen before he shunshined to go see Tsunade about a few things. Sakura ran to catch up to Sasuke after they left Naruto. Sasuke, wait up. I need to talk to you real quick. Sasuke stopped so Sakura could catch up to him. He was slightly annoyed because he wanted to go train a little more. What is it, Sakura? Sasuke asked. I just wanted to say thank you for saving me from Gaara. If it wasn't for you, I would be dead. Sakura said with a blush on her face. You're thanking the wrong person. It wasn't me that saved you, it was the Dobi. I was pretty much all out of chakra. He told me to protect you while he fought Gaara. Sasuke said, seeing Sakura with a surprised look on her face. What do you mean? We both know Naruto is the dead last. Sakura said. No, Naruto might have been the dead last at the academy, but he's definitely not anymore, and might be stronger than me right now. Seriously Sakura, Naruto was the one who saved you and to be honest he truly cares about you too, he might even be in love with you. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow Sakura. Sasuke said, leaving Sakura standing there. He couldn't help but notice Sakura blushing after what he said. I know Naruto always asked me out on dates, but I never knew he actually meant it and cared about me that much. I thought he was just being annoying and joking around with me. Why is my face all warm? Sakura thought to herself, not realizing Sasuke already left her. She shook her head from her thoughts and started walking home. Jiraiya opened the window and climbed through it into the Hokage's office. Hey Haim, how are you holding up? I'm extremely pissed off Jiraiya. I couldn't chime in letting them know he's my godson too. If I did, they wouldn't even let me talk if I told them that. It doesn't help that you scared them all with your killing intent, but they had it coming. I'm assuming you're here about other things, what is it? Tsunade asked. I'm going to give Naruto jutsus to learn and hope that helps him survive, but I'm assuming Minato left the Flying Thunder God in his Hokage archive. I want you to get it, so I can give it to Naruto. He must learn that jutsu somehow. Jiraiya said. Jiraiya, you're asking for a lot from me, I could get in serious trouble for giving that to you. Tsunade said. Naruto could die out there Haim, I don't really give a damn. Jiraiya yelled. Tsunade sighed. Fine, wait here, I'll be right back. After waiting for a little bit, Tsunade walked back through the door. Here you go Perv, but put it into a storage scroll of all the jutsus you're giving him, that way he won't see it till later on. Jiraiya, how's he going to survive? I guess the toads can keep an eye on him, but he's only 13. What is he going to do? I honestly don't know him, especially with Akatsuki out there. His banishment is very dangerous. He could be caught by them and we wouldn't even know it. I did though maybe float an idea into his head that might keep him alive. Jiraiya said with a grim look. Wait, what do the Akatsuki have to do with Naruto? And what idea is that? Tsunade said. They want to collect all the tailed beasts. If Naruto can't find the perfect hiding spot, he's as good as dead. However, the kid asked if he was a real Uzumaki and I might have slipped up and told him he was because his mother was one. So I told him about Uzushiogakure, and how it's in ruins. Jiraiya said. Tsunade could only look at him in disbelief. So you're telling me the council pretty much signed Naruto's death certificate? Also, that was brilliant, Jiraiya. That could in fact keep him alive for a long time. No one would ever look over there. Yes. Anyways, Haim, as much as I love being with you, I need to find out Naruto's elemental affinity and find him some jutsus for him to learn. Jiraiya said, jumping out the window. As Naruto was cleaning up his apartment and packing his backpack with essentials, he heard a knock on his door. He walked to the door and opened it up to see the toad sage Jiraiya at the door. Hey pervy sage, Naruto said, letting him in. Hey Naruto, I got some element affinity paper right here. If you don't mind taking it and putting some chakra into it, we'll find out what element affinity you are. Then after, I can go and grab some jutsu scrolls for you to have. If you have water, the paper will go soggy. If you have wind, it'll tear, earth, it'll crumble, fire, it'll burn, and lightning, it will wrinkle. Jiraiya said, handing Naruto the element affinity paper. Naruto took the piece of paper, and pushed some chakra into it. To Naruto's surprise, he saw it tear in half, so that means I have wind. Not really surprising since Minato had wind affinity, thinking to himself before answering. Wind is a pretty rare element to have, not many have it nowadays, but the fourth Hokage had it also. Alright, Naruto, I'll see you tomorrow, and here, this is a storage scroll, whatever you want to keep from this apartment put in here. Jiraiya said. Thanks, pervy sage, Naruto said while walking Jiraiya out. As Jiraiya left, the kid is going to need a new attire too. I guess I should buy him a new attire too to help keep him alive. The next day later at night, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, and the Ichirakus were at the gate waiting for Naruto to say goodbye to him. They all looked and saw Naruto slowly walking to them with his head down crying. As he got closer, he whipped his eyes clear and looked up at them and showed them a toothy grin. Thank you all for seeing me off, I really appreciate it. Naruto said. No problem, Naruto. Dad and I got Master Jiraiya to give us a storage scroll so we can give you plenty of ramen for the time being. Ayame said. Thank you, Ayame and old man, I really appreciate it. Naruto said. Give the two Ichirakus a hug. Hey Naruto, I just want to say thank you for saving me from Gaara, I really appreciate it. Sakura said, going in to give Naruto a hug. As they were hugging, Naruto couldn't help but blush. Sasuke then spoke up next after they stopped hugging. Hey Dobi, make sure to survive long enough so I can eventually get this banishment removed. Sasuke said, giving him a fist bump. I'll do my best, Naruto said. Naruto, be safe out there. Jiraiya told me your element affinity is wind. This is a B-ranked jutsu called Tornado Barrage. Make sure to take your time on training your chakra control so you can learn this jutsu, okay? Kakashi said, handing him the jutsu scroll. Thank you, Kakashi sensei, and I'll do my best. Naruto said, giving Kakashi a thumbs up, and a toothy grin. Tsunade pulled Naruto in a bone-crushing hug. I'm sorry there wasn't much I could do, if I even brought up I was your godparent too. I would have not been allowed to even comment on the situation. I'm sorry Naruto, I wish there was more I could do for you. Be safe out there, okay? Tsunade said, then giving Naruto a kiss on the forehead, causing Naruto to blush and Jiraiya to give an irritated look at how lucky his godson was. Hey kid, there are several scrolls one have for you. This one is for food, This one is a whole new attire. You'll need it for stealth now since you're banished. Put it on once you're ready, okay? This one has all the jutsus I want you to try to learn. Now, this one right here has Fuinjutsu books in it. The Uzumaki clan were masters of Fuinjutsu. You should try to learn it. Survive, kid, and I'll come to find you in 5 years. Jiraiya said. Thank you, Jiraiya sensei, Naruto said, making Jiraiya smile. Naruto looked at Tsunade. Hey granny. Could you do me a favor and take Sakura as your apprentice? She has amazing chakra control and I feel like she would be your best apprentice, even outdoing Shizune. Shocking Tsunade and Sakura, and then Tsunade looked at Sakura and said, if she is up to it and is willing to come to me to learn, then yes, I'll make her my student. But she will need to be determined because my training is no joke. Yes, Lady Tsunade, I can do it. Please take me as your student. Sakura said, receiving a nod from Tsunade. Well, I should go before the council decides to try to come after me and kill me, Naruto said with a dark look. He looked one more time at his family, and the village then turned around and walked away from them. A few days have gone by and Naruto was wandering around with no direction in sight. I wonder where I should go. I need to stay hidden and start training also. I can't die out here, Naruto thought to himself when he heard a dark voice in his head. Hey kid, I'm sorry you got banished, but since we are in this together I can't have you go dying on me. It's not your fault, Nine Tails. Well, I mean it is, but there's nothing we can do about that now except move on. Since we're in this together, why not tell me your name? The Nine Tails thought about it for a while. He wanted to take over this kid's body, but with everything that's happened to him, and he still isn't filled with hatred, maybe instead he should help him out. You know what, kid? I originally wanted to make you filled with all this hatred so you would have to break the seal and let me take over your body, but with everything that has happened to you, and you still aren't filled with hatred, has earned a little respect from me, but not enough to warrant my name, Gaki. Why do you have to be such a stubborn old fox? Listen, Gaki, when you're as old as me you can be as stubborn as you want. I'll lend a little more of a hand with sensory, but that's about all I'll give you for right now. Now if you want my advice, I think we should head to Uzushiogakure. Why head there, fox? Isn't it in ruins? Yes, but no one would think to look for you there except maybe that perverted master of yours. How do I get there from here? Head east from here, it'll take us about a week to get to the water, and then a few hours traveling on the water to get to the island. Running on that water will help you with your chakra control. If I was you, I would use those shadow clones to help you with your chakra control, learning jutsus, and reading up on Fuinjutsu. Wait, what do you mean? The Nine Tails growled and then yelled, listen, you stupid Gaki. The shadow clone jutsu transfers memories to the original copy after you dispel it. Wait, really? So why don't I just make 1,000 and have them all split up to work on everything? The Nine Tails started to get angry and fed up with the blonde idiot. Listen, Gaki, if you do that, you'll die from brain damage. Start with a small amount like 10 or 20, and dispel them one at a time. Then once everything gets easier, then start using more. Now I'm done talking. Get moving, Gaki. Thank you, Fox. After the conversation with the fox, Naruto started traveling to the east to head to Uzushiogakure, where he'll get to see where his clan is from. After a week of traveling, Naruto ended up on the edge of the land of fire that split it between the Leaf and Uzushiogakure. During the week of travel, Naruto was able to learn a couple of the basic elemental jutsus Jiraiya gave him, along with bettering his chakra control. Naruto also was reading the basics of Fuinjutsu. Hey, Fox, am I in the right spot? Yes, Gaki, now start running across the water to get there. Naruto started mumbling to himself about the ungrateful stupid fox, and he started running across the water heading to Uzushiogakure. After running for almost the whole day, Naruto finally got to landfall and collapsed on the beach from exhaustion. After huffing and puffing and laying down for about 30 minutes, Naruto got up and looked around. He started heading to the middle of the land. After walking for some time, Naruto thought he could hear people and some construction. Hey Fox, do you hear that? Yes, I do Gaki. There shouldn't be anyone here, be careful. Naruto walked further in, and what he saw shocked him and the fox. They saw buildings being built, more homes were already made, and several people men, women, and children with mainly red hair. I can't believe this, are they all Uzumaki? I thought I was one of the few left. Naruto said to himself out loud. Naruto was in such shock that he didn't hear or sense the red-headed man appear behind him. The man gave Naruto a chop to the neck, knocking him out cold. After about an hour, Naruto started to come to, and he noticed he was on a cold floor. What the? Where the hell am I? Naruto sat up, and looked around, and realized he was in a jail cell. How the hell did I get stuck in here? The blonde-hair kid got up and walked to the iron bars. Once he got there, he noticed a red-headed shinobi leaning against the wall. I see you're finally awake, kid. How did you know about us being here? The redhead asked. This is my mother's homeland. I heard it was destroyed. Naruto said. Kid, I doubt you're an Uzumaki. You have blonde hair, and as you can tell, we all have red hair. If you don't tell us the truth, we'll have to kill you. Now tell me, how did you know we were here? Naruto started to sweat. He didn't know what to say. I'm telling you the truth. I was banished from my village for something I didn't do. I was told my mother is from Uzushiogakure, and that'd be a good place to stay hidden since no one lives here anymore. I'm sorry, kid, but I just don't believe you. You might as well sleep while you can before we kill you. Kid, tell them your mother is Kushina Uzumaki. Trust me. No, please don't. According to the stupid fox that's sealed inside of me, my mother's name is Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto hastily said. Huh, the fox. You're Kushina Haime's child. There's no way. We'll have to do a blood test to see if what you say is true. Wait, did he just say Haime? My mother was a princess of Uzushiogakure. Naruto thought to himself, shocked at what he just heard. Naruto woke up the next day in his cell. He was slightly nervous about what was to come today. Today was going to be the day he finds out if he truly is an Uzumaki, and the fox wasn't just making something up to say while they were in a tight spot. While he waited for what to happen today, Naruto decided he would get a light workout in while he waited, and did some push-ups and crunches. As he was finishing his workout, his captive came in. It was the same shinobi that talked to him last time. Before he left, he gave his name, Domon Uzumaki. Alright, kid, the rest of the clan is ready to find out if you're truly an Uzumaki, and didn't make something up on the spot, Domon said. Naruto only nodded and walked to the cell door where Domon opened it up for him and had him follow. When they finally got outside the building, Naruto was in awe of what he saw. The ruins were almost completely gone, and there were now small family homes, what looks like a shinobi academy being built, training grounds, farms, library being fixed up, and finally what he assumed would be the Uzushiokage's mansion. Naruto thought they might still go to the mansion, but instead went to an old war-torn looking building that somehow survived the fall of Uzushiogakure. As they entered the building, it looked like the whole clan was there. Naruto noticed there were a surprising amount of kids, maybe a few years younger than him, some teenagers his age or slightly older, but he noticed there was a girl with long red hair and glasses that looked around his age. He blushed a little when he saw her because he did think she was kinda cute. Maybe not as beautiful as Sakura, but she was definitely cute. Domon led Naruto up to two older Uzumakis and said, Elders, this is the boy I was telling you about who said he was an Uzumaki. He goes by Naruto Uzumaki. Hello boy, my name is Mio Uzumaki, and I'm one of the elders of the clan. I'm sorry we've been aggressive with you, but you have to see it from our side. No one is supposed to know that Uzushiogakure is being rebuilt, and to suddenly find someone appearing on our shores is suspicious. Domon here told us that you got banished from your village. Before we proceed to find out if 1. You're an Uzumaki and 2. From this test, we'll also find out if you're from the royal line like Karen-chan over there. The elder Uzumaki said, pointing to the long red-haired girl that looks like Naruto's aged. Now Naruto, my name is Shota Uzumaki, and I'm the other clan elder. This test will be a blood seal on these two scrolls. This blood seal will determine if you have enough of the royal line in your blood. If you do, this will confirm what Domon told us about who you said your mother was. Now if you don't have any of the royal line, it's fine. This other scroll will also test to see if you're still an Uzumaki. If it proves you're an Uzumaki, a standard Uzumaki sword will come out. Do you have any idea who your father was? Shota said. I don't know. The third Hokage would always change the subject, or tell me he can't tell me for my own safety. So much that did for me. Naruto said. So why did the hidden leaf banish you? Mio asked, causing Naruto to flinch at the question. Naruto took a deep breath. I have the nine-tailed fox sealed inside me. I'm his Jinchuriki. The elders and some of the clan heads wanted to banish me because they thought the nine tails escaped when I was fighting the sand demon. The truth is I transformed the toad boss into the nine tails, but since I also used his chakra once to unlock my chakra points in a fight with a Hyuga during the Chunin exams. They thought I was losing control and the nine tails was taking over, when in reality I was the one in control the whole time. In fact, most of the village saw me as the demon, and not as Naruto Uzumaki. Everyone that was there was in shock at what the blonde boy said. Not only was he banished from his village for something that clearly he didn't do, but they were just scared at the potential this boy could have. Naruto could sense some of the anger coming from his clan members, and he thought the same thing. He thought that the Leaf Village thought of him as a demon. The first thing Naruto heard came from the girl his age, Karen. Her hair looked like it was flying all over the place like a demon. I can't believe that village, how dare they treat you like that? Karen said. Boy, you aren't a demon, don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, Mio said with a gentle smile. Yeah kid, don't let anyone make you think you're a demon. I'm sure Mito-sama and Kushina Haim would probably be rolling in their graves if they knew this was happening. Domon said. He was surprised at the kind words they were saying. Even though he might die today, he knew at least these people didn't think of him as a demon. What Naruto didn't know, however, was that the elders had little doubt that he would pass their test. Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails before Naruto. They put two and two together, surmising that Kushina's seal must have broken and forced her husband and her to seal the Nine Tails in their son. Alright Naruto, it's time for you to take the test and see if everything you said about Kushina Haim being your mother is true. We already know you must be at least part Uzumaki since you just told us you're the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Our clan is the only ones who can be the container for the Nine Tails. Shota said, handing the two blood seal scrolls over to Naruto. Naruto took the scrolls with shaky hands. He was very nervous and worried about what would happen next. Naruto bit his thumb and spread blood on both of the seals and then placed his hands on the seals and pushed chakra into the seals. The Uzumakis around were surprised at what just happened. Both scrolls reacted to Naruto. The only two that weren't surprised were the elders. Naruto was also surprised that both scrolls reacted to him, but what came from the royal scroll really surprised him. So do I pass? Naruto stuttered out. Yes Naruto, you passed. What you see as the royal heirloom is the katana called Masamune along with a wakizashi. What many people forget is, not only are we masters of Fuinjutsu, we were one of the top villages for Kenjutsu too. Now that it is confirmed that you're an Uzumaki, but you're also from the royal line, we have a lot to discuss and go over. Mio said. If you'll excuse us, we need to go over a lot of things with Naruto-kun. Domon, you should accompany us. Karen Haim, please drop by in a couple of hours because we have to discuss something important with both of you. Shota said. Everyone started leaving the old building, leaving Naruto, Domon, Mio, and Shota in the chamber to discuss some things. Naruto-sama, please let me apologize for how I originally treated you and for not believing what you said, Domon said while bowing to Naruto, making the latter feel uncomfortable. Thank you, Domon, but please just call me Naruto, Naruto said, receiving a nod from the older redhead. Okay, let's start off with the easy stuff first, shall we? Domon, you'll be Naruto-kun sensei. You'll teach him Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, Taijutsu, Chakra Control, and Ninjutsu. Naruto, what ninjutsu you know? Shota asked. Well, Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin was going to be my master before we found out I was banished. The only thing he was able to teach me before then was the Rasengan, which as of now I can only do with clones, and had me sign the Toad Summons contract. He left me some basic elemental jutsus to learn along with some ninjutsu scrolls of my elemental affinity, which is wind. As of now, I know a couple of C rank wind release jutsus, and one B rank from my old sensei Kakashi Hatake gave me to learn. I haven't mastered the B rank wind release called Tornado Barrage, and the Rasengan since my chakra control still needs work. I also use the Shadow Clone Jutsu to help me learn things faster because of the memory transfer that comes with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. The two elders and Domon were quite surprised at what Naruto told them. They could see how much potential Naruto has in becoming potentially the strongest shinobi in the 5 great shinobi countries. Okay, I think what we'll start with before we get into learning or mastering your ninjutsu is getting better chakra control. Your clones should help you out a lot with that. Before we continue on your training schedule, how many clones can you use for training? Domon asked. Before I got here I was using 20 with only very slight exhaustion from using them, Naruto said, with a hand on his chin. Okay, we'll be jumping that up to 30. 29 clones will be working on chakra control, while the other one will be reading up in the clan library on Fuinjutsu. Meanwhile, you and I will be working on your taijutsu and kenjutsu. You'll need to learn kenjutsu because of Masamune. It'll definitely help you out in battles. We'll start training tomorrow. After the discussion today, I'll show you to your new home. Domon said, getting a nod from the blonde and the elders. Now Naruto, when you're not training, you'll be learning politics. Within 3 years we'll be putting you in a 2-year trail run as the Uzushiokage. We'll start then to let the other nations slowly know the rise of Uzushiogakure by setting up alliances. The only issue you'll have is we really don't have allies right now. When we go to start alliance talks you'll most likely be put in arranged marriages. Mio said, getting a shocked look from the blonde. Which means you'll have multiple wives, and we'll be discussing one of the wives you'll have very shortly, Shota said. An hour passed where they discussed more things about the village and their plans when there was a knock on the door. Domon walked to the door and opened it to let Karen into the chamber. Welcome Karen Heim, the elders will see you now, Domon said. Hello elders, Karen said, bowing to them. Hello Karen-chan. Now the reason we need to talk to the both of you is although we're all technically family, you two are much closer than the rest of us since you both are from the royal line. Which means, to keep the royal line going, you two will have to get married. Before you say anything Karen, you'll also have to know Naruto will have to take on more wives than just you. Mio said, getting a shocked look from the two teenagers. I'm assuming we both don't have a say in this, right? Karen said. No, unfortunately. I know both of you might not like this at the present moment, but give it time. Mio said. Okay Granny Mio, I'll do what you say. This is a second chance at life and I won't mess this up. I do have one thing to say to you all. Naruto said, getting a slight angry look from Mio from the nickname the blonde just gave him. There is a terrorist organization called the Akatsuki filled with S-rank missing nin. They're going to be hunting all the tailed beasts in about 3 years' time if I remember correctly what the pervy sage and his spy said. That might all change now since I'm off the grid and not in the leaf. If I can make a suggestion, in a few years' time when hopefully I become a master or close to a master Fuinjutsu, we develop seals to protect the island. I know there are already some Fuinjutsu seals to help, but we clearly need more powerful ones. I don't want our home to fall again, Naruto said, getting shocked looks from the others. Well Naruto, It seems the leaf made a fatal error in banishing you. Don't worry, kid, I'll make you strong enough to beat these terrorists and defend us from other nations. Domon said, Naruto-kun, make sure you take your training seriously. Karen, you should probably join Naruto in training too. You still have very little control over the adamantine sealing chains. Shota said, yes, Elder Shota, Karen said, with a bow. Do you guys think I'll be able to use the adamantine sealing chains? Naruto asked. The elders and Domon thought about it. If you haven't been able to unlock them yet, you might not have the ability to do so, but I do know one way you might be able to. The elders, Karen, and Naruto looked at Domon with a questioning look. How so, Domon-sensei? Naruto asked. Well, I read in an old clan book that if someone from the royal line hasn't unlocked the ability to use the adamantine sealing chains, you can electrocute the said person with high voltage. If they don't unlock them from that stress, then you don't have the ability to use them. If we do use this barbaric approach, I say we wait about 6 months to strengthen your body and better your chakra control before we even try it. Domon said, getting some distasteful looks from the elders. Okay, I'll do it, Naruto said, getting shocked looks from the elders and Karen. Naruto-kun, it's dangerous. You could die from it. Karen stated. I don't think I'll die, but you aren't wrong, Karen-chan, but I need to see if I'm able to use them. It'll help us significantly, Naruto said calmly. Alright, let's end here for today. Domon, Karen-chan show Naruto to his new home for the time being. Shota said. The three bowed and left. The three were walking back into what was going to be the main part of the village, and where all the homes were. They were chatting here and there about things when they came up to a small 2-floor home. Alright, Naruto, this will be your home, Karenheim. Naruto, we begin training at 6 a.m. sharp, so be ready for a long painful day, Domon said with an evil grin, making the two shake a little with fear. Domon left the two outside of Naruto's new home. It was silent for a couple minutes before Naruto decided to break the silence. Karen-chan, I didn't know they were going to arrange for us to be married. I'm sorry, but since we don't have the choice in the matter, do you mind showing me around the village, and maybe we can get food? Naruto said with a foxy grin. It's okay, Naruto-kun, I knew I was going to be put in arranged marriage, and although we are technically cousins, I'm happy it's someone from the clan, rather than just some random royal clan from a different village. Alright, let's go walk around the village, and get some food. Karen said, getting a smile from Naruto. The two walked through the village, getting to know each other better and finally getting ramen, surprisingly of all food, for dinner. They left the ramen stand and went their separate ways to end the day. 6 months later in the Leaf Village. It's been 6 months since Naruto was banished. Although the Hidden Leaf Village was doing great, the Fire Daimyo brought the hammer down on the elders when he found out the ninja he agreed to banish was their Jinchuriki. Daimyo realized he was slacking on his duties, and now that he realized he let the elders have too much freedom, he started coming to every council meeting to make sure they aren't handcuffing their Hokage and making sure they're making the right decisions for what's best for the Hidden Leaf. Lady Tsunade was quite happy to have the Daimyo now on her side and having him come down on the elders. It has made her life easier, to say the least. She now has a medic nin program. All the genin teams now have one genin in each team, learning at least basic medical ninjutsu to help keep them alive till they get home. She decided to take on more than one apprentice besides Sakura. She took up Hinata and Ino. Although the latter of the two took up medical ninjutsu well, Sakura was the one that surpassed both of them because of her fantastic chakra control. Tsunade wouldn't be surprised if she surpasses her in the future. One thing Tsunade hated about being Hokage was the blasted paperwork that came with it. There is something that surprised her though, was the sudden change in one Sasuke Uchiha. He always had an Avenger complex, but when Naruto got banished, something changed in the boy, and that change was for the better. He was no longer dark, he didn't ignore his fellow Leaf Shinobi, and in fact, he finally told Sakura he doesn't see her like that, but more like a sister. Even though Naruto wasn't there anymore, he did tell her maybe she should try to move her feelings to the boy that constantly was by her side, motivated her, and pushed her to better herself even if he wasn't here anymore. Sakura was sad at Sasuke not returning her feeling, but then when she thought about he was right. Naruto was always there for her no matter what, even if she pushed him away or talked down to him. Naruto would still be by her side pushing her to keep improving and to never look down on herself. Sakura and Sasuke got a new teammate in Sai. They weren't too thrilled about it considering he came from Root, but even so they were surprised that all worked well together, well as they could. Finally though, Kakashi started taking his students' training more seriously. He felt like he failed them, especially his sensei's son Naruto. He vowed to himself that he would make his students as strong as they can be. While their training got more intense, Sakura was taking on a lot with Tsunade being her sensei, and also still training with her team. She was exhausted almost every day, but she wouldn't have it any other way. She now knows her elemental affinity, which is water, and now knows some water release ninjutsu along with learning Tsunade's taijutsu style with her superhuman strength. Everything seems to be going great for everyone except for two elders, Danzo and Homura. The two elders were meeting in Danzo's Root headquarters. Any news on your Root team eliminating Naruto Uzumaki? No, they couldn't find any trail of him, let alone what direction he possibly went in when he left the leaf. It's like he just vanished off the face of the earth. Hopefully, he died to some bandits or missing nin. Danzo said, I can't believe the daimyo came down on us like that. Now we have to be careful with what we do now, Danzo. Be wary of Kaharu. She apparently informed Tsunade and the daimyo that she was against the banishment. Whatever move we do next needs to be thought out and not brought back to us. Homura said, Sai hasn't been able to get any information out of Team 7. They won't even bring up Naruto around him. I know they saw which direction he went in when he left, but they won't say anything. I'll let you know if I get any leads on him. Now good night, Homura, Danzo said, receiving a nod from Homura who shunshin out of the headquarters. Meanwhile in Uzushiogakure, in a hidden chamber in the library, Naruto was getting undressed for his procedure to try to unlock the adamantine ceiling chains. He would be lying if he wasn't nervous. He knew it was going to be painful, but he needed to see if he could unlock them. Karen was extremely nervous for Naruto and the elders put up a stoic face and were going to be watching the procedure from behind a window. Okay Naruto, we're going to chain you up, and let's hope this works or I'm going to feel pretty awful for putting you through so much pain, Domon said, as he motioned for Naruto to join him in the middle of the room. Naruto walked into the middle of the room where there were two chains hanging from the ceiling. Domon connected the chains to Naruto's wrist and handed him a towel to bite down on. Use this to help you from screaming out. It's going to be really painful, but I faith this will work. Alright, get ready. I'm going to start placing the seals on your back. Domon said, as he walked behind Naruto and put the seals in the right place to start the procedure. After the seals were placed, Domon claps his hands together and channels his chakra into the seals causing Naruto to be electrocuted. Naruto bites down hard on the towel as he's being electrocuted. About 10 minutes were about to come up. Domon cancels out his chakra and stops the electricity going through Naruto. I'm sorry Naruto, but it doesn't seem like you'll be able to use them, Domon said, with a small frown. Naruto spits out the towel. Domon. Sensei, let's do it one more time. I felt something on my back. I think if I channel chakra to the spots that I felt something, the chains will come out. He nodded at Naruto and rolled up the towel again and put it in Naruto's mouth. Domon clapped his hands together. Okay Naruto, prepare yourself in 3 2 1. Domon said, channeling chakra into the seals on Naruto. As Naruto was withering in pain, he felt the 5 spots on his back that felt like they were telling him to channel chakra there. Naruto started to channel chakra into those spots as best as he could and all of a sudden felt 5 chains fly out of those 5 spots on his back. Domon was in complete shock at seeing the chains come out of Naruto. He was so in shock he forgot to undo his chakra he was channeling into the seals. He hurriedly cancelled out his chakra and seals stopped electrocuting Naruto. He ran over to Naruto and unclasped the chains holding him up. Naruto fell onto Domon. He caught Naruto and held him. You did it, Naruto. You unlocked the chains. We're so proud of you, and now we can start beginning more intense training too. Domon said, with a small smile. Karen ran in to check on Naruto to make sure he's okay. The elders slowly walked in with a smile on their face. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Karen asked. I feel like a million Ryo. What do you think, Karen-chan? Naruto said with a chuckle. Domon-sensei, I know it's stupid to ask, but I'm assuming to make them disappear I stopped channeling chakra into those spots. Also they surprisingly don't consume much chakra either. Naruto said, receiving a nod to his question and statement from Domon. Naruto, like Domon said, we're all proud of you, but he isn't wrong when he said the training will get more intense from here on out. You two better be ready. Now before you go home to rest your body from the pain, I have news about the Leaf Village. Shota said. Apparently, the fire daimyo didn't know who he was actually banning. When he found out it was you, he came down hard on the elders of the Leaf. Apparently the ones called Danzo and Homura are walking on thin ice over there. The fire daimyo is now at every council meeting to make sure their elders don't try anything. Also, Lady Tsunade now isn't being underhanded and overruled as the Hokage. I'm sure if you wanted to you could head back to the Leaf Village. Shota said with a small frown. That's all good news, Gramps, but I'm now a shinobi of Uzushiogakure, and will eventually be the Uzushiokuge. I'd rather be with my clan, and with people that won't see me as a demon. This is also the perfect place for us to train, and start scheming against the Akatsuki. We do need to start thinking about a way to bring in income. I know we want to stay hidden, but maybe we should send a letter for the daimyo's eyes only to have him send some missions our way. Naruto said. The elders looked shocked at how Naruto was already starting to act like a leader. Maybe his lessons were starting to pull off. He's no longer acting that much as a prankster or a brat. Shota thought. He still does a prank from time to time, but it's good to see him taking things more seriously, Mio thought. If I would say we could go after missing nin with high bounties to start. We can wait for when we think you're ready to take on at least a rank shinobi. A lot of the kids around your age aren't ready to go on more than D rank, borderline C rank. We started to train them harder, so once they're also ready we'll make teams, and eventually reach out to the daimyo for missions. Mio said. If I can make a suggestion. Maybe we can send out whatever jonin we have that isn't training any kids and or teenagers to find some missing nin that are willing to join Uzushiogakure. The only missing nins I would suggest are from the Hidden Mist, most of them probably left because of the Civil War. You also might be able to find some with Kekkei Genkai. So what do you think? We need more shinobi, and they can probably be convinced to join us. Naruto said. Mio and Shota were surprised at what Naruto said. He wasn't wrong, but was it smart to bring in missing nin from other villages? We'll ask everyone to see what they think, and if they agree then, we'll bring in some that we know won't betray us. If they do we'll make sure to put a seal on them that would kill them if they betray us. Mio said. That's all I can ask. Now if you all don't mind I would like to sleep now, Naruto said. Okay Naruto, I'll carry you home. Karen Heim, can you make sure to bring food to Naruto's place so when he eventually wakes up he'll have something to eat? Domon said. Sure thing, Domon-sensei. Naruto-kun, sleep well. Karen said before taking her leave. 2.5 years later. Uzushiogakure was full of life. All the ruins were gone and replaced with new buildings, and homes. Uzu also has more shinobi now than they did before. The elders and the clan eventually did listen to what Naruto said, and brought in some missing nin, many of which came from the Hidden Mist village. These were men, women and children alike who all sought to escape the ongoing civil war. A few also joined Uzushiogakure from the Hidden Rain village. The shinobi from the Hidden Mist helped all the Uzumaki shinobi in Kenjutsu that didn't know how to use a sword. While the Hidden Rain shinobi that joined helped all the shinobi that had an affinity to water. They did however bring in two sand kunoichis that happened to have the same name. One of them decided to change their name to Nico though. Meanwhile, in the Uzukage mansion, Naruto, Domon, Karen, and the elders Mio and Shota were all in the office discussing the latest news they heard about other villages. Naruto, it seems your friend Gaara is the new Kazekage of the Hidden Sand Village, Shota said. That's great. Perhaps with him in power, we could make our first alliance sooner. If you don't mind elders, do you think Karen, Domon Sensei, and Nico go to the Hidden Sand Village to talk to Gaara? I'm sure he would love to hear from me, and we might be able to get some missions out of it too. We can always use henge if we get close to other shinobi, although Nico will probably have to use henge once we get into the Hidden Sand Village. Naruto asked. Shota and Mio whispered to each other for a few minutes before Mio spoke up. Naruto will agree to it, but why would you want to take Nico-chan? Well, Nico is also my sensei too, she's one of the best close-range fighters we have. No offense to Domon Sensei, but she's also from the Hidden Sand Village, so she'll be able to help us get there faster. Which would come in handy if we need to hide while we're in the village. Naruto said. Shota and Mio looked at each other and then looked back at Naruto and gave him a smile. Alright Naruto, that sounds fine to us. Prepare to leave by tomorrow. Also, since we aren't hunting missing nin for money, here's your Hitai-8. We're going to be handing this out to all our shinobi tomorrow, better late than never. Shota said, throwing the Hitai-8 to the three, including an extra for Naruto to give to Nico. Naruto looked at his new Hitai-8 that sported a 3 whirlpools on it instead of the original 1 whirlpool. I'm assuming we're going with 3 whirlpools now because the Leaf Village has our crest on their flak jackets. Karen said. That's correct Karen-chan. Naruto, I gave you an extra one to give to Nico-chan, now be off you three and we'll see you off tomorrow. Mio said. The three left the Uzukage office and went to go find Nico, who was probably at the training grounds training their shinobi in Kenjutsu. As the three went to the training grounds, Domon spoke up, Naruto, why do you want to risk going all the way to the Hidden Sand Village? Well, for starters, Domon Sensei, Gaara is my friend, and since he's the Kazekage, he'll want to make an alliance with us since I'll be the Uzushiokage. Now the other main reason is to inform him of the Akatsuki. We really don't know what they've been up to, and since there has been no trial of me which has probably ruined their plans to capture the tailed beasts, I still need to inform him. I can have him make contact with the pervy sage to find out more information on them and send it to us too. Naruto said. Naruto-kun, isn't still a risk for us to go to them since they're allied with the Leaf. We could run into some of their shinobis. Karen said. Well, Karen-chan, that's why we can just henge. Well, for my case I'll need to henge, you two can probably stay the same, but Nico will need to henge too, Naruto said, with a toothy grin. They stopped talking as they reached the training grounds to find Nico. They saw her currently training a few of the kids that are close to being able to become genin in taijutsu, while Pakura, who was thought to be dead and a former Hidden Sand Kunoichi, was helping kids who have a Kekkei Genkei since she had one. The three of them waved at Nico to have her come over. She dismissed her class and headed over to the three. Hello Naruto-sama, Karen-sama, Domon, is there anything you two need? Nico asked. Naruto threw the Uzushiogakure Hitai-8 at her. She caught it and was shocked at first, then a smirk went on her face. She went and tied the Hitai-8 on her forehead. Is there anything else you need of me, Naruto-sama? Nico said. We have a mission. Naruto said. Oh, and what's the mission? Nico asked. We're going to the Hidden Sand Village to talk about a potential alliance so we can hopefully start getting some missions. They happen to have a new Kazekage who just happened to be a good friend of mine. Naruto said. Sounds good. When do we leave? And what about if we run into any leaf shinobi? Nico asked. We leave tomorrow morning, and if we haven't been noticed yet by the leaf shinobi, I will henge to make my futures look slightly different and go by the menma. I'll be able to hold it for a long time thanks to the fox's help. Oh, that reminds me, after this mission we're going to have to potentially head to the hidden cloud, so I can talk to one of their fully realized Jinchuriki. Although I'm making great work with Fox and breaking his barriers down one by one, I still have a lot of work ahead of me. Naruto said, with a sigh after he finished speaking about the Nine Tails. Naruto, we'll have to talk to the elders about your own personal mission there. If you and the Nine Tails can get on the same page, it could be a major difference when it comes to the other hidden villages. Domon said, receiving a nod from Naruto. Sensei, before we leave, you'll be able to fix Gaara's seal, right? I'm pretty sure they messed up at some point with the connection, and that's why Gaara can't sleep. Naruto asked. Although I can, I don't see why you can't do it. You and Karen are almost sealing masters now. Domon said. You'll need both of our chains just in case Shikaku tries to escape, Naruto said. Okay Naruto, we'll do it your way. Now everyone go and stock up on supplies and we'll meet tomorrow morning at the gate. The journey will take us about a week to get there. Domon said as everyone left to go stock up on supplies. After traveling for about a week with no noticeable hiccup, Naruto and his group got to the gates of the hidden sand. Nico went into a henge to make sure she doesn't get recognized by any sand shinobi. When they walked up to the gates, Naruto saw a bunch of shinobi running around in panic, and then he noticed Temari. Temari. Naruto yelled at the blonde, which he happened to notice how gorgeous she's become over the past few years since he last saw her, causing a slight blush to show on his face. Temari looked over and saw a blonde-haired teenager waving to her. She walked up to him and was shocked to realize who it was. Naruto, is that you? What are you doing over here? Why aren't you in the leaf? Temari asked, with a confused look on her face. He flinched at her question and realized the leaf hadn't let out that they banished him. I'll tell you later. I need to talk to Gaara. Where is he? Naruto asked. Naruto, two men with black robes and red clouds kidnapped him a few hours ago. We are getting ready to send people after him. We sent word to the leaf for help. Temari said, with an old lady nearby listening in. Naruto started to leak out killer intent that surprised all the shinobi around. They weren't expecting such potent killer intent. Which way did they take Gaara? Temari, I'll go and bring him back with my squad. I was actually coming here to warn Gaara about the group that kidnapped him. Naruto said with a deep voice. They went east from here, they'll be tough to track, why not let me come with you? Temari asked. That's when the old lady decided to speak up. Lady Temari, how about I go with them? I have a suspicion on who one of the members is, and they'll need my help. Lady Chio, are you sure you can go back out in the field? Temari asked with concern. Don't question me, girl, they'll need my help, trust me. Lady Chio said. Okay, if you say so. Naruto, please take Lady Chio with you, Temari said. Okay, but the hag better keep up. Also Temari, please do me a favor. When the leaf shinobi come, don't let them know it's me that helped Gaara. I'll inform you why later, Naruto said, receiving a nod from Temari. The group was going as fast as they could to try to catch up to Gaara's captives. Thankfully, during their 3 years of training, Karen's sensory ability increased significantly, and was finally able to pick them up within a couple of hours of leaving the sand. Naruto-kun, they're about 8 miles out from us. We should be able to reach them in a couple of hours. Karen said, receiving a nod from Naruto. Naruto, if you don't mind me asking, why did you want Lady Temari not to inform the leaf you're helping the sand? Lady Chio asked, seeing Naruto flinch from the question, and his companions giving a frown. Lady Chio, if you don't know why I'm not at the Hidden Leaf Village, then that informs me that they're hiding what happened 3 years ago. Lady Chio, what I'm about to tell you, you can't inform anyone else. Naruto said, receiving a nod from Lady Chio. The Hidden Leaf Village banished me after the sound invasion. The elders saw me fighting Gaara, and then they saw me transform the toad boss into the Nine Tails. Since I'm the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, they assumed I let the fox out, and that I gave full control to the fox which is furthest away from the truth. I never lost control, and barely tapped into the fox's chakra, but two of the elders, and some the clan heads, couldn't trust me. So they decided to banish me before it was too late. I ended up going to my mother's home Uzushiogakure, to discover my clan was still alive and rebuilding our home village. Naruto said, pointing to his Hitai-8. That's when Lady Chio realized Naruto and his group wasn't wearing Hidden Leaf Hitai-8 but one that had 3 whirlpools on it. I'm sorry to hear that, Naruto. And as for information about Uzu, you don't have to worry about Suna as long as it doesn't compromise our security, Lady Chio said, receiving a nod from Naruto. Lady Chio noticed one of the kunoichi with Naruto dropped a henge, and she was in shock at who it was. Pakura Arata, is that you? Hello Lady Chio, how are you? If you don't mind, my new name is Nico. Nico said, I'm okay, I thought you abandoned the sand. It's surprising to see you with a new village now, Chio said. I was going to join a random mercenary group, but Domon here ran into me when I was heading to join them. He brought me to Naruto-sama here and they made me a good offer and I'm now an Uzu Kunoichi. I'm a sensei now too. Nico said with a smile. I'm happy you're doing well. When we rescue Gaara, and get back to the sand, please drop your henge to him when we have a meeting with him. I'll make sure he pardons you going missing, and officially transfers you to Uzu if an alliance benefits us. Chio said, thank you Lady Chio, and that was one of my goals heading to see Gaara. We were hoping to form an alliance, and that you guys might be able to push some missions to us. Naruto said, what is this connection with the young Kazekage that makes you certain he'll agree to an alliance? Lady Chio asked. During the Sand Sound invasion 3 years ago, I found that Gaara and I had a lot in common, Naruto said. And what would you have in common with the young Kazekage besides being a Jinchuriki yourself? Lady Chio asked. Well, although Gaara has siblings, he still grew up shunned, alone, and treated awful. It was the same for me in the Hidden Leaf. Most of the civilians hated me, verbally abused me, and wrote awful things on my door to my apartment. At the Ninja Academy, none of the senseis there would teach me properly except Iruka sensei. Gaara is now your Kage, and my dream was to be the Hokage, but now I'm pretty much the Uzushiokage. Lady Chio, I'm fully confident that Gaara and I will be able to come to an agreement on an alliance. Naruto said, you bring up good points, brat, and your clan is known for Fuinjutsu. I'm the last sealing master in the sand, so we can probably use your assistance there. Lady Chio said, we'll discuss it when we bring Gaara back, Naruto said, flashing his signature grin. After a few more hours of traveling, they all could sense that they were closing in on the 2 Akatsuki members. Naruto-kun, we should be coming upon them in a few minutes. Karen said. Naruto and his group saw the 2 Akatsuki about 30 feet in front of them. They sped up a little bit, jumped down from the trees they were on, and landed about 10 feet in front of the Akatsuki duo. This is as far as you go, Akatsuki. We'll be taking the Kazekage back with us to the sand, Naruto said to the 2 Akatsuki duo.